Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the season finale of American Pods, an American Gods podcast hosted by Legion of Leia. I am your host, Christina, and I am joined with, for the final time in this season, Shaun.
Hi.
Brittney.
What's up?
And our sweet summer puppy, Mike.
Hi, how's it going, everybody?
Mike's having a bad day.
Oh, Mike.
I'm just not ready.
Yeah, our bodies are not ready for the season finale.
Eight episodes is just too short.
I know.
It really is.
It's unreasonably short.
Because our appetite has not been satisfied. We are Bilquis.
We are.
They're built with vaginas.
Yes, my vagina universe is not full yet.
It is an empty void.
It is an empty void. I got 8 stars. I need way more stars.
Ooh.
Hey, you see what I did there? Stars.
Yeah. But we're obviously talking about the season finale of American Gods, episode 8, Come to Jesus.
Which is like the best title ever.
It is the best title.
Come to Jesus.
To Jesus.
Get your Jesus on. But so yeah, let's just get it started.
Yeah.
The episode begins with Mr. Nancy.
Yes, it does.
It was a Shadow and Wednesday are sitting in Nancy's, I guess, apartment or place of work.
I mean, I know it's not a hat store, but I want to say haberdashery because I love that word.
I love haberdashery.
Yeah,
I assumed it was his house.
Yeah, like I assume he has like a house that also works as like a suit store. Like he's like one of those guys who makes suits for people, but like he's like an on-demand kind of person. He comes to your house, he takes care of it, or you come,
only.
Or you come to his house. And even though I know like it's only for hats, it feels like if he had a chance to call it, it'd be Mr. Nancy's haberdashery. I have nothing to base that off of, other than I think that sounds dope as shit.
No. Okay, like there was I don't exactly know what it was that he pulled out, but it was labeled bespoke. It could be Mr. Nancy's,
Yes.
whatever.
Nice. I like it. Yeah.
I don't know what bespoke is. I'm not a man suit person. It means custom made. Okay, Laura says it means custom made, so it could be Mr. Nancy's bespoke suits.
There you go. I like it.
Did you not watch The Kingsman?
Yes, but when all that suit talk happens, it goes right over my head.
Got it.
All right.
I'm not cultured.
So no bros for you. Got it.
I still love you.
I mean, I like guys in tailored suits, and I know when a suit is tailored. It's just whenever you get into that technical stuff, it's like,
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it was great to see Orlando Jones again.
Mhm.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. We need more Mr. Nancy, and hopefully we'll get more of him later down the line.
Yeah.
But it was very entertaining to see him literally take a stage.
I love that. It was so good.
And tell a story. And that story was Bilquis.
Yes. The story of how Bilquis joined the Corporation of Gods, no less. The entire rise and fall of Bilquis's empire.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
It was a very interesting thing to see happen because, she was literally a goddess.
Yeah.
In ancient times, and she had sex parties that, to them maybe ended badly. I mean, they ended in ecstasy.
Right, they ended in ecstasy,
Oh,
but sorry, airplane. Airplane. But I think the more interesting thing about the entire Bilquis scene is the fact that even Mr. Nancy says that these people went willingly to these parties. They knew that they weren't coming back. They knew that they were being offered up as tribute, and it was the highest honor they could give to their god.
It's true.
Which, I mean, that pool, like, right, there's like it's like this like golden recess, and then
it didn't start out as a pool.
Yeah.
Like it was just, it was an unfilled stone pool.
Yeah.
And when things started getting really sexy, you all of a sudden see this black goo under them.
Yeah.
And like they were just kind of writhing under there. It's like, and
And they just became a part of the goo.
Like, get out of the pool! Get out of the pool!
And I I think this is because we don't really see it in the two vignettes that we've witnessed
Mm-hmm.
in the earlier episodes of the show. Like this, her taking in so many people at once, and like that black goo, and just her taking in people en masse. That might have been like the height of her power
Definitely.
if she had more worshipers all at once.
Yeah, there was definitely a sense of this is Bilquis at the height of her worship, and she was able to take people to the point of ecstasy in mass, whereas now she's a tiny god, and she can only absorb a person one at a time.
Yeah.
It's still crazy. She
Right.
still eats people with her vagina universe. But, I mean...
Oh, what did he call it? The vagina nebula.
Yeah, the vagina nebula. Yeah, I gotta be honest. The vagina nebula is far less scary if it's one-on-one. But if I just saw black goo arise around me, I'd freak the frick out.
Did you notice how like the people were, like, I mean, they were still writhing, but they were frantically writhing.
Yeah, it was like the more it touched them, the more they got into it. Like it was, It was almost like it was some sort of accelerant for pleasure and sensation for them. So it was bizarre.
It was bizarre. It was horrifying, and I think I remember Mike saying, "Is sex not safe anymore at all?" Like,
Right.
Can't even trust an orgy, I tell you what.
you
can't trust 40 of your closest friends.
I don't know. I do like how they touched on, or I mean, as you watch it, you realize that Bilquis. I mean, you guys touched on it, or I guess gathered that she's the Queen of Sheba, and that's who, like the temples and everything, when they're being destroyed, when she's, because I loved watching her progression, like as Nancy's saying, women and how powerful they are, and how you have to claim yourself, and just it was a very woman power first. Actually, the whole episode is very woman-centric, and it's all about, being a queen. And I loved watching her go from being in her temple to, going through the 70s era and being amazing. And just, no matter how much men in the world try to tear you down, you can still come back and rise. And I just love that. And I just wasn't sure, because they didn't really say, but I mean, to me, as some people kind of figured out, which, we'll say obviously who wouldn't say is if you haven't figured it out yet, but to me it was very obvious that she was the Queen of Sheba.
Yeah.
And these temples that she has that were torn down by horrible sacrilegious men who were afraid of pussy power, it's not.
You can say ISIS.
Burn.
Well, I like that she's Sheba because she's the Queen of Sheba, or I guess ISIS too. Sure.
No, I mean, yeah, because I think that's what they were alluding to.
Well, they alluded that she had a couple of different names.
No, the people who were tearing down her temples.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they have been doing that a lot lately.
They have been. They've been tearing down false idols, and it's been bad, considering the fact that the Middle East, which has become this place that's embroiled in Judaism, people of the Jewish faith, and then of course those
Islam.
who are of the Islam, that is the land of a million gods. There are so many gods that have come out of that region, and it's a shame that these gods, who are clearly not being worshipped anymore, at the very least being worshipped in such a nominal way, we can't still enjoy the beauty of what's come before.
Yeah, and I don't know, the historian person in me was like, whenever I see an ancient temple just being wrecked, it's just like it just kind of like when I see you and Laura tear apart books, a little piece of me dies.
Well, okay, now, not to go off topic, but there's a big difference between tearing down a temple and tearing down a book that there is literally millions of copies of.
No, I know.
I would never go to an X-Men #1 that there's only 150 of in the world and rip that apart. Let's be fair.
I know, but I'm also an English major, and I see all books sacred.
I understand that, But as a person who's an art student, I spent over a year, in my Western Civ class, studying architecture, studying the progression of how the artistic movement moved through Egypt, and seeing these wonderful pieces of artwork, whether you believe in the gods or not.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just human ingenuity, and their artistry, and just the fact that they have survived hundreds and hundreds of years,
4,000 years in some cases,
thousands of years,
Yeah.
is just like pieces of me die
Yeah.
whenever I see them destroyed like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, in the Indiana Jones part of my brain, it's like, it belongs in a museum.
Exactly.
It does. I don't think there's anything remotely off base is what you said there.
No, and like whenever, so just like me, like when Bilquis sees this on TV in present day, just like pieces of her die.
Yeah.
And just like she has, as if she wasn't already struck low.
Right.
She is struck down even more.
Well, what I thought was interesting, and this is something that I've never really thought about from the point of view of Bilquis, because again, she doesn't get a whole lot of play in the book.
No.
And they've really expanded at least, kind of like this whole way of how she's approaching things. But she goes to the 70s, which I know people like to say the 60s were like the summer, was like the decade of love, but 70s was really the decade of sex. Like the 70s was where female empowerment really took off. It was the sexual revolution. People who were gay were finally able to come out and be themselves, and it was really the changing of the world. And of course, at that point, Bilquis was at not necessarily the height of her power as far as like absorbing worshipers, but she was
thriving.
She was thriving in this land of sexuality. And then we see her in the early 2000s, and we see that she's clearly picked up STDs, and people have become so afraid of sex because of what had happened in the 80s, and whether it be AIDS or chlamydia or whatever it was, you could see that she was suffering from a number of afflictions. Yeah. And it was interesting to see that she was reflecting how America has treated these sexuality and these diseases. It was like she was almost the embodiment of them until she found a way to get her mojo back, which I thought was a really great metaphor, because I was like, that's really wonderful, because I mean, she had like the mumps, when
it wasn't the mumps.
I know, but like that's what it kind of looked like. She was all
oh yeah, like she had lesions on her face.
Yeah.
From very obvious sexual or
STDs.
STDs.
Right, and her partner, the girl she had escaped with when she's in the hospital bed, they do the flash of her armband, and it does say HIV plus,
right?
Yeah,
or positive. So I think that's just it's those subtle touches about this show that I really like. That you kind of have to pay attention to them. Not everything is thrown in your face. Not everything is kind of hit you over the head with it. But it's those nice subtle touches that you appreciate, which. One of them comes later, which I really hope, I know you guys noticed, so we'll talk about it later when we get to the end. But I really do love the smaller things that you kind of have to look out for, the small clues.
Well, I mean, not to go into the small clue portion of it, but one thing that I thought was very telling was with Mr. Nancy telling this story, I thought it was very interesting that we had a man telling the story of Bilquis. And when they get to the point where men start to take away her power in the 70s because they're afraid of this female empowerment, especially in Israel or the Middle East where she was at, I thought that was very interesting that a man was telling this story, because he wasn't saying it like, he wasn't saying it from a perspective of a man. He was saying it from the perspective of a narrator. In fact, he was saying it from the perspective of, from what I could tell, almost a female narrator, where he's like all men trying to take away power. And I like that Mr. Nancy is that connected with stories that he's able to remove his own gender from the equation and take on the mantle of whom he's speaking for, which I thought was a nice, again, subtle touch. But it also allowed him to do his, Orlando Jones to do his awesome Mr. Nancy thing, where he just got violently pissed about the whole situation. It's not just reserved for people who are slaves. It's not just reserved for people who are downtrodden. It's not for people who have had their sexual identity taken away from them. He becomes the embodiment of whatever story he's telling. And I kind of love that. And it was a very subtle nod.
Yeah, it's not something you pick on right away.
Yeah.
Pick up on right away.
Yeah.
Mike, what did you think about Bilquis's story?
It was fascinating, to be honest. I love the 70s. That whole sequence was probably my favorite part. And it definitely opened, because we, of course, talk about how even in today's world we have gay culture is here, and it's more out in the open, where in the 70s it was kind of definitely hidden in the closet, kind of hidden in the back rooms of a club, and seeing them connect in that level so fast, it was just really magical to me. Hearing Mr. Nancy tell a story, just and how he just stood up with it, it's like, let me tell y'all a story. And Shadow, I love how Shadow didn't want any part of the story. He's like, can we just make the suit, please? Like, no, you're gonna hear it.
Oh yeah, because he has the spotlight. He goes, "Once upon a time."
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, "Yes!" He just should have said, "Once upon a time, a woman got fucked," and that would have been cool too. But he didn't.
And then
It would have been a great way to start it, though, right?
It really.
It would have been. Once upon a time, a woman got fucked, and then he starts the story
in so many ways.
Yeah. Again, right? Stars, if you're listening, let that happen. Let Mr. Nancy start a story like that one time. Like, that needs to happen.
But I liked how, yes, she thrived in the 70s, but it was the 70s in Tehran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to picture where it was actually placed, and it took me a while to figure it out.
They had the nice fancy writing, and it was like the 70s gold as it kind of went across the screen for you.
Oh, I did love all the font choices for that. That was great. That was freaking awesome. But yeah, they were in Tehran, and that's when
that's around the same time the revolution happened.
There was a lot of the 70s is a very interesting time because we talk about so many revolutions that happened in America, but that's where a lot of revolutions happened worldwide, culturally speaking, for good and ill. And we were able to see, again, Bilquis being, a woman, being somebody who is a sexual goddess, we were able to see multiple faces of those revolutions through one person, which, again, is just good storytelling. It was just a good subject, good storytelling. It didn't beat you over the head with it, but it definitely said, look at this.
Yeah.
And made sure that you recognized what you were seeing. And I don't know about anybody else, but it made me feel sad. It made me feel sad that these people who aren't hurting anybody, they just want to get their freak on.
Yeah,
they're kicking down doors and breaking arms.
Exactly. I mean, in Tehran around that time, like, you weren't even allowed to have house parties.
Yeah.
Just like gatherings at all. And it was just like one person who got a whiff and like told the police, like, they would knock you down and like bad things would happen.
Yeah.
It was like it was very
oppressive.
Yes, that is it. That it was very oppressive. Like they wouldn't even. I mean, yes, these guys were having sex, probably.
right.
But it's like, even if it was just a dance party, they weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, like sometimes somebody just wants to dance to ABBA, bitch.
Yeah.
Let me dance to ABBA. What the shit?
It's like no music, no dancing, no men and women mingling.
I will Kevin Bacon this if I got to. I will fight the law and I will dance in the streets.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody wants to see me dance in the street, but
no, thank you.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Yeah, right, a little bit.
You know what? Yeah,
a little bit. Right?
I'll sing in the rain. That's as far as I'm going.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But regardless,
yes,
regardless.
Yeah.
Amazing sequence.
It was an amazing sequence. I loved her entire story.
Yeah.
Like she had that one worshiper woman, and like they both flew to America to escape the revolution in Tehran, and then she died, and then Bilquis was lost for a very long time.
Well, I think what's interesting is they've hinted at this. In the specific episode, we see how different faiths focus different incarnations of these gods. For we see various versions of the same god in this episode. Whereas Bilquis, this story, it's the same god from 4,000 years ago. She was worshipped. She basically run out of worshipers, and she followed her only worshiper in the world to America. And when that worshiper died, she got stranded here. This isn't a situation where she is a copy of a character, such as Mad Sweeney. Like, this is the American version of Mad Sweeney. Chances are there's an Irish version somewhere out there. This is the Bilquis that was around 4,000 years ago. And I thought that was an interesting, just a little note that they made there for us to say that this is not a reimagining or flavor because of belief. This is this one starving god.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just fascinating.
I mean, she's even older than Wednesday. Probably. Maybe?
We'd have to go to Google to figure that out, but they're both very old. Let me put it this way. She's older than Wednesday in his American incarnation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant.
Because in his American incarnation, I think he said he arrived like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So his American incarnation, yes.
So I mean,
I do like that the technical boy, or is that what we're calling it? Still the
Yeah.
technical
That's what he's
boy.
called.
that's his name. That's his name.
That's his
That's in
name,
the
that's his
credits.
name.
It's on a
That's
t-shirt.
what it is on a t-shirt.
He's technology, whatever.
When he, he reaches out to her, and he promises her, tongue
Words.
words. He promises her, to come back and to be worshipped again, and to, as he's always saying, to like rebrand, rewrite, and repackage them and send them out into the world. And I love how when she is in the museum, like checking out essentially artifacts from her temple, and he's there, and he's just like, it's time for. He's all like the Godfather. He's like, I have to call upon you because I gave you a favor. Now it's time to cash it in, and she's just loath to do it. But I really wish, he would have had like a really young geeky boy moment and been like, this woman's hot, she's coming on to me. And visited the Vagina Nebula. That would have been really cool.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Like, I really want to know what deal she made with them.
Well, remember, basically, he gave her the power of Tinder. He was like, I will make you a social media superstar, and people will worship you through social media.
I know, but like he's now cashing in a favor.
Well, in the book, and this is spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, go ahead about 3 minutes, okay? But in the book, basically, he wants her to take a side. He wants her to join officially the Corporation of Gods against Wednesday, because at this point in the book, Wednesday has started to amass an army of gods.
That's true.
And she flat out turns him down, and bad things happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to happen that way, because Bilquis was not indebted to the technical boy in the novel. In this version, she is very much indebted to him. So I think, personally, what they're going to do is Bilquis is going to be a spy. And she's going to be a spy for the Corporation of Gods, specifically at the House on the Rock.
I just assumed that, they needed a queen, as in Shadow and Wednesday, so they went for Easter. And I assume that the new gods need a queen, so they also went for Bilquis. But
maybe.
I like your idea.
Yeah, I think media would probably be a little pissed off if she didn't get the queen spot.
Yeah.
But even though media's androgynous, but
right,
she tends to like being female characters, though.
She do. Listen to me.
She totally do.
But I don't know. Even though she's like, I love media. Like when I took this quiz, I'm totally media. It was a cross between media and Bilquis. So I'm all about her, but I never thought of her necessarily as. I mean, I know they're gods and goddesses, but I never thought of her as a queen per se. So why not go and get a real queen from back in the day? But I really dig your idea that maybe she's gonna go, be a spy.
That's my theory, at least. I mean, I could be completely off base, and we'll find out. But that's what I think they're going to do. Because she's an old god too.
She's super old.
Yeah, so because she's an old god, they'll be predisposed to thinking that she'll be on their side. So I'm thinking that that's my theory, is that they're going to try to make her into a plant.
Oh, I just assumed they turned her like they turned Vulcan. You're like, hey, we promised you these things, so now it's time to cash in, and you need to do our bidding and show up at the House on the Rock. But
yeah, we saw how that went down.
Oh man, like how? Okay, so for you two who are all about this book, and our sweet summer puppy who didn't really know about it or maybe know it was coming. Like I've had so many fans of the book wanted to see the House on the Rock. Like, is that something that you wanted to really see more of it, or did you think it was kind of perfect just to kind of end where it ended?
Well, not to jump ahead too much, but right?
Yeah, well, I mean that could be our segue. So
yeah.
So I mean, we're done with Bilquis.
Yeah.
Like her story is ended. Like Technical Boy has cashed in his favor, and she loathes to do it, like you said, Brittany. And then we move on to Shadow and Wednesday, finally making their destination in Kentucky.
Right, and it's not the House on the Rock.
It's not the House on the Rock. They are actually recruiting one more person, and it's Easter.
Okay.
And, like on the day of all days, it is actually Easter in their timeline, and Easter, who is played by Kristen Chenoweth, the lovely Kristen Chenoweth. I love her, love her, love her. She is holding a celebration at her little mansion.
For me. She said it. That was so great.
For herself,
right.
But, you know, it's really about Jesus.
So all of her guests
are Jesus.
Well, the majority, because you do have a lovely, like, Virgin Mary that's like...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And Mary is also there.
Yes. But somebody who is not there is Mexican Jesus.
Oh.
Aww.
But you know who is there? And he is actually credited as this type of character. Jesus Prime.
Yes, Jesus Prime.
Yes,
Jesus Prime. When we saw that in the credits, we laughed our ass off. Oh my God!
And he is a familiar face from
Lost.
From Lost.
Yeah, he's from Lost. I always forget the actor's name.
Jeremy Davies.
Yeah,
Thank
Jeremy
you.
Davies.
But he's not Lost for me.
Oh my God! He was perfect as Jesus, right?
Yes.
He was so great. And I love that there's this moment, guys. It is so beautiful. It's so wonderful where he walks up to Shadow and he goes, "Hi, Shadow." And Shadow's like, "Oh." And there's this moment where Shadow's like, "Is this who I think it is?" And the entire time Jesus is talking directly to somebody. The light behind him, because he steps in front of a light source, it becomes a halo.
Yes.
And he's talking, and as soon as he's done, he's like, "Oh, I see a friend. Excuse me." And he walks off and the light just vanishes. It was... Seriously, like, Jesus has never been as baller as that moment. Like,
it was baller. It was hilarious. It was very self-aware of what they were doing.
It was totally. and honestly,
subtle thing that I was wondering if you guys picked up on. I'm so glad you did.
I mean, honestly, it's look, not to get into our own personal beliefs and whatnot, but that is probably one of the closest things I've ever seen to what I envision Jesus in my head. Jesus would be like the completely cool guy. Even like when he's trying to make water into wine, he keeps screwing up the vintages.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Jesus Prime is like totally what I imagined Jesus would be like.
He was totally zen.
He was zen. He was sincere. You know, he makes goofs, but he's like, it's cool. It's not a big deal. You know, like, and the water to wine thing was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
where he's like, I can make a decent wine, but if you want like a Chateaubriand, 1602, that's a little harder, you know? And he's like, or, 1847 or something. He's like, I can't do that.
He's like, I think he would need to know what that even is for it to happen.
Right. I mean, but oh God, Jesus Prime.
Jesus Prime.
I really wanted him to be like, because it's Jesus Prime, I just totally envisioned Optimus Prime with like the crown of thorns. And then, that's what I really, really wanted. And like, he would leak some oil and he would turn that into wine. So that's just where I was with Jesus Prime, but that's just my happy nerd.
Dude, he's been handing out loaves and fishes the whole time. I mean,
isn't that what was part of the hors d'oeuvres?
Yeah, the loaves and the fishes. Yeah, because they came up, they're like, we need more loaves and fishes. Yeah. And he's like, oh, excuse me.
That was on the menu, and they ran out.
They ran out. Yeah, that was great.
One Jesus needed to make a little bit more.
Oh my God, it was so good.
There were so many Jesuses and Madonnas.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
The Madonnas I didn't focus in on as much because I was looking for all the different flavors of Jesus. I got to be honest.
The flavors of Jesus.
Well, I was trying to find Mexican Jesus in the background, and I didn't see him.
Aww.
And I was.
But we did get like a black Jesus.
We totally did.
We got an Asian Jesus, I think.
We had Asian.
And a Middle Eastern Jesus. He's the one who had the jelly beans going through his stigmata. That was friggin' amazing.
Yep, and we had blonde Jesus. There were a lot of them. There was a lot of Jesuses. Jesus?
No, just Jesuses.
Jesuses?
That is totally acceptable.
So wait, if it's like a murder of crows, would it be a crucifixion of Jesuses?
Yes!
Yes.
That sounds so metal.
So, like,
when you're referring to a name, it is Jesus's.
Right. Okay. So it's a crucifixion of Jesus. So that'll be a bunch of. We need to make a T-shirt with just a bunch of different versions of Jesus and just call it a crucifixion of the crucifixion of Jesus, and then on the back explain the.
That sounds almost blasphemous, but whatever.
That's kind of the best stuff.
I'm like, is your Catholic bone just like cringing? No.
But.
Well, to be fair though, if Jesus Prime is my version of Jesus, I think he'd be cool with it. I think that underneath his robes he'd be wearing that shirt.
I think he'd be cool with about everything.
Which is how it should be, right? Right. But getting back to the story, though, I thought it was amazing because Wednesday shows up and he goes to Easter. And again, Kristen Chenoweth. Now, we've never talked about on this show, but on my other show, I've talked many times of my fan boner for Kristen Chenoweth.
We both have.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, it is well documented. Basically, since Wicked on, I have just been like,
Wicked, and most recently, either Pushing Daisies or GBC.
oh my god,
Good Christian Bitches.
If you guys have never seen Good Christian Bitches, you owe it to yourself. You can find it on streaming media.
Is that still on?
No, it only lasted one season, but it's a perfect season.
Yeah, we had viewing parties when that was on.
We did. It was so good. But anyways, Kristen Chenoweth is absolutely amazing in everything that she does, and I adore like all of her. Like, just she'll pop up in so many little random crazy movies, and
she's such a tiny sassy person.
But you know, she's almost kind of like Christopher Walken and like Martin Freeman, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Like when these actors show up, like, the movie instantly becomes better. Tim Curry is another good example. Like, even though the movie may suck, when they show up, it's instantly a better movie. Mm-hmm. And then when they leave, you're a little bit sadder. Yeah. You know, and she's one of those actors that can do that. She is absolutely astonishing when it comes to just how she can elevate something. And you're talking about, we're on a season finale, you're getting all these Jesuses. You're already kind of fangirling and fanboying out because, oh my God, we're seeing all these different versions of the same guy, and they're all cool with each other. And then here, right in the middle, is Easter. And it was baller. It was so cool.
You see all of her little bunnies.
Yes!
And they're having like a...
all those damn rabbits.
so yeah, like she's holding a party for them, but it's like by proxy, it's
in her name.
It's in her name,
right?
And she's simultaneously having all of these Easter, like the pagan rituals.
The bunnies and the candy.
The bunnies and the candy and the
flowers and the eggs and yeah.
Like all of this is going on at the same time, and all the Jesus are fine with it.
Right.
And like Wednesday, he's making his case.
Right.
To like when he finally gets to talk to Easter, and he's like, she says she's cool with Jesus stealing her holiday, but like he kind of plants this earworm into her, kind of like it really does bug her a little bit,
right?
That people are not recognizing her.
Yeah,
you are the goddess of spring.
Right.
Right, and no one praises it in your name. I love how he pokes the bear. He's just like, because he knows it's gonna piss her off, and he's like, in order to get you on my side, let me just show you, like, you know what, it doesn't matter. It's great that all these people are here and you're thriving and flourishing, but it's only because you have decided to share this day. And it's like media tells her, you're only as big as you are, is because, you know, Christianity is so popular and you're a Christian holiday.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
and I mean, it is true. On one hand, there is enough runoff of this holiday to keep Easter very powerful. Mm-hmm. You know, she clearly has not diminished at all.
Yeah, she's comfortable.
She is very comfortable, but at the same time, it's still runoff. It's not direct tribute. And this is where it comes back to Wednesday's philosophy, which is the whole purpose of a god is people are supposed to sacrifice to you. They're supposed to give you something, and in return, the gods are supposed to grant boons. This isn't a one-way street. It's not blind worship. Mm-hmm. And he's like, how can you not want them to say your name and mean you and to love you? Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're a god and you have experienced that, you know, the modern gods, the corporation of gods, have always been worshipped at.
Yeah.
You know, they've not been worshipped to. You know, and these older gods have been worshipped at. They have experienced the give and take of this relationship, and they don't have it anymore. And Wednesday's like, basically, Wednesday is like the most monogamous dude in the world. He doesn't want runoff. He wants to be in a relationship with humanity.
Yeah, he doesn't want he doesn't want the compromise that the new gods are offering.
He doesn't want an open relationship. He wants to be in a one-on-one with his people, man. He wants to be like, come on, come sit with me. You know, come on, sit on daddy's lap, which is freaky and a little dirty. I get it. You know, but at the same time, you have to respect the purity of his logic.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's also, I don't know, like, I mean, because Wednesday, we know him now to be, like, a super bastard.
Yes, as we discovered last week, super bastard.
But, like, you know, it's also, I mean, just very selfish of him to want something more.
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, it's not, okay, maybe not so selfish, but he's looking for meaning again. But
at least that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
Right.
But we don't really know what his motivation actually is, because you know something else is up. but he is doing this pitch right now to the other gods so he can get them on his side.
It's a good line.
It's a good line,
Yeah.
and like he's very much playing into the wants and needs that the other gods are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, he is a talker. Oh, he is smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wasn't even Easter, and I wanted to just like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. Jesus had his time for too long.
Yeah, no more Jesus, it's Easter time.
and even without that feeling, he's right. I don't celebrate Easter or spring at all because it's Jesus Day. We represent a lot of the Christians today represent that's his resurrection day. It's his day. But now, I swear this show has completely changed me now. I'm changing how I think of my holidays now. I'm going to celebrate Easter Easterish. I'm going to celebrate spring how it's meant to be. Jesus is now the secondary footnote in my holiday now.
Does that mean you're having sex on Easter? Because it's totally about, like, procreation and rebirth and, like, being all... So I'm just putting that out there for you.
I mean, I hear nothing bad.
Just saying.
On a scale of 1 to 10, he's still a 10, so he's doing good. He's like, I'm all in. So
he's like, I'm not hearing a bad thing.
Right. So you're saying I have to eat candy and have sex on this day? Oh man. No.
Oh dear. Oh man.
You also have to like yell out as you come to fruition. Oh, Ostara. That's what you have to do. You have to like that.
Give me the script, Brittany. I'm not saying no yet. I mean,
awesome. I'm not saying I want video, but I want audio for sure.
No.
Thanks. No thanks.
This is a family show. Not really, but.
If you mean family, as in we make families.
Right.
All right. Sorry.
I do love how media really has her voice in her ear as well. That I helped create you because TV. Thanks, TV. It's spread out to make it where she's worked alongside to make it where Jesus and Easter could share their day to make it one. And
and you have to give credit to this corporation of gods. I mean, the idea is really brilliant. The idea of taking things that are in the now and incorporating things that were formerly in the now into it. It is a wonderful way. And I mean, we all know the story of why, Jesus' resurrection day is on Easter was because, back in Roman times, they were trying to get rid of the pagan rituals and whatnot. And they said, let's make the Christian holidays the same as the pagan holidays, easier to convert them. And we'll even use the same name. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're celebrating the resurrection, rebirth, and I'm telling you, whoever came up with this back in 430 AD was just a brilliant marketing guy. Brilliant.
Yeah, man.
I mean, seriously. Like, there should be a shrine to that dude. You're like, right? Like, seriously. But before we go too far into media side of it, can we just talk about the fact of media rolling up with her entourage, looking like Vivian Lee out of Gone with the Wind, just rocking that up?
I do declare.
No, it was Judy Garland.
Oh, you're right. It was Judy Garland. I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry.
In her Easter bonnet.
That's right, in the Easter bonnet. But just, dude.
It was pimp.
I love a big hat.
You gotta love the big hat. She just rolling in, just like, what?
Yeah, she and the technical boy were there with their little spooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with what they call the children, right? I think we told online they're called the children.
Oh, the children, yeah. And she's making her case too, and making sure that Easter stays in line.
Yeah.
And Mr. World, through one of the children, even makes an appearance.
Well, okay, so here, this is something I want to ask you guys. I interpreted this as a weird karmic fate kind of deal, which was Wednesday knew more than likely the Corporation of Gods were going to be here. My theory is that he knew they were going to be there. Yeah. Corporation of Gods had no clue that he was going to be there. They were showing up to hang with their homie for a day. I legitimately think there was no political agenda on the corporation side. I think that media was coming to hang out with her bruh.
Probably.
And
I agree.
It was like when she saw Wednesday, she's like, dude, what the hell? Like, I really, that's how I interpreted media's reaction to seeing Wednesday, of just are you kidding me? Like, it's almost, she looks at Chenoweth like, bitch, you know, just like, are you really screwing with me right now? You know, like, we're here, it's your day, look at all the Jesuses, you know, look at the crucifixion of Jesus, you know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it was a really kind of, again, showing how much of a bastard Wednesday is. You know, he's crashing a party that there was no political motivations behind on their end, and making it into a statement piece. And I really dug that. Like, but so Mike, you agree? Brittany, did you see it the same way, or was it different for you?
Mike.
Oh no, I agreed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will go along with the rest of the crowd. I totally agree. You make a good point, and yeah.
I have made a good point. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
But I can't remember, what was it that Mr. World said when he kind of sort of appeared.
Well, when Mr. World shows up, there's the whole. I mean, Mr. World's pissed.
Yeah.
Because he realizes that Wednesday's there, and basically he says, "We don't want to fight you. If you come here to fight, we will crush you."
Yeah, and those children kept multiplying.
Yeah, and the children.
Yeah.
Oh, and not just multiplying. Those mofo's had snazzy jazz numbers.
Yes, they did.
They were like dance fighting or something.
Yeah, it was weird. You know what they were doing? They were doing Clockwork Orange stuff. Because if you've watched Clockwork Orange, a lot of that movie, they're doing these little like dance routines and whatnot. You know,
and I love that they look like they could have come from a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, like in my brain, even though we call them the children, I always think of them as droogs. Because that's what they look like. They look like droogs. So, but yeah, I mean Wednesday is just like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And
he's pissed. He's fed up.
It's a really weird moment, because this moment is two moments split up in the book. Easter flipping and Wednesday making a declaration of war happens like literally. There's like
the span of a minute.
Yeah, in the span of a minute, in the book is like vastly. I mean, there are like dozens of chapters between these two moments.
It's true, because like when they first meet Easter in the book, she's kind of like, meh.
Yeah, it takes the whole book to convert Easter.
Yeah.
You know, and Easter just like she flips.
And it was Shadow who ultimately flips her, right?
I don't remember if it was Shadow.
Because she was pretty taken in with him.
Yeah.
She does. Yeah.
She was. Oh God, yeah. Now, can we also just say how adorable it was to see little tiny Kristen Chenoweth next to gigantic freaking Shadow?
My God.
Oh my God! I'm forgetting his name. The actor's name. Help me.
Ricky Whittle.
Thank you, Ricky. I mean, gigantic Ricky Whittle, just looking all chocolate goddess and whatnot, and then just little tiny adorable.
Oh my God! I loved the suit that Anansi made for him.
No, it was good.
He looked so yummy.
Oh, that pastel purple and that fucking tie. Oh man!
When he put it on, I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to wear that. I would wear a purple suit like that tomorrow. Oh man, I wouldn't even care. Like, really?
It's just like I suddenly forgot about Mad Sweeney and just like whoop.
Oh, ma'am, you bite your tongue.
Good segue though. We haven't talked about Mad Sweeney and Laura.
No, I know. Like while this is happening, Laura and Mad Sweeney have made it to Easter's mansion as well.
Right. A conflux, yeah.
Unbeknownst to Wednesday.
Yeah, unbeknownst to Wednesday and Shadow, like because they're kind of there on the DL, and Easter is the god that Mad Sweeney knows to help Laura out.
Right, which is where you had your theory about what happened with the bunny rabbit.
Yes.
Because you came up with this insane theory between us recording the podcast, and it makes a lot of sense. So you need to tell the internet.
Okay, so last week it was really bothering me why Mad Sweeney, like while they were driving, that it was really bothering me why Sweeney dropped a few gold coins on the side of the road after he saw the bunny the first time, and you know, and then we see a white rabbit, kind of hopping into the middle of the road, and then it made Laura flip the truck and everything. And I just it suddenly dawned on me as I was writing the review yesterday, we're recording this early, like not like usual, but whatever. Um, so it just dawned on me that he was paying the rabbit to set up this trap
Right.
for Laura so he can take the coin. Because if you remember, like in a couple episodes, he can take the coin when she's dead.
Well,
we can.
Well, we've argued whether he could or couldn't.
We argued that he could or couldn't, but like
we don't know.
He made a statement saying like, and he probably could just be lying, or he just might not have known. But like he made this statement to Laura that he's gonna stick with her until she finally sloughs off and dies,
right?
And so he can just take the coin.
Yeah.
And so like he wants to, make this happen sooner than later.
Right.
And so he just tries it. And so maybe he couldn't actually take the coin, or maybe he was actually feeling guilty because, this is the second time that he has killed her.
Yeah.
And, there's a part of Sweeney that just like, he doesn't want to be that bastard again because he already hates himself for killing her the first time.
Right.
And he doesn't want to have to do it again. So maybe he was feeling guilty and then gave the coin back to her. But we don't know. We don't really know what was going on inside of his head. But that's just a theory. And,
it's a pretty good theory. I like it.
And so, and he made this deal, and maybe... Because he doesn't really like Wednesday a whole lot either. And so maybe he wants to keep her around to fuck up his plans later.
Yeah. But, of course... I'm sorry, Brittany, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying it's true because he is indebted to Wednesday for whatever reasons. Like, he is the errand boy. He has to do these things because he even says that to Easter when he says later, he's like, you owe me a favor. So it comes across as because Sweeney isn't a true god. He's more of a demigod. He is the muscle and does things for the gods a lot for favors since he's not as powerful as they are. So, yeah, I thought that was a good point.
It was a very interesting suggestion, and I like it. I don't know if it's true or not, but I like to think of it headcanon until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good way to look at it. And, of course, that means that when he does put the coin back in her chest, it's because that guilt, he wants to make her better so that way she can give him the coin. He doesn't want to take the coin anymore. He wants it given back to him.
Yeah.
Which is a huge character progression for him.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And because we still need to root for these guys because they're, by and large, still pretty big assholes.
We need more heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that leads us to the snag in his plan.
Right.
Easter, by any other circumstance, Easter could technically make Laura alive again. However, the circumstances of her death kind of complicates things because she was actually killed by a god,
right?
And she can't. What's that word? She can't undo it.
Yeah, she can't undo it. Yeah, Chenoweth or Easter is stuck with this loophole, which is that if you suffered the wrath of a god, the only person that can remove that wrath is the god.
Mm-hmm.
And
but see, I missed that part.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, I can't take this back because it's not mine to take.
But so you're saying the same god? You're saying you interpreted that she was saying that in order for it to be undone, the god who made it happen has to undo it,
or has to at least get rid of the wrath.
Okay. See, I just thought because she was like, I can't undo this because a god killed you, period. I can't undo anything a god has done. So I didn't, so it was kind of like you're hopeless.
Right, she can't unless Wednesday takes it back. And if Wednesday takes it back, then theoretically, Easter, this is how I'm interpreting it, Easter could bring her back.
Huh.
Yeah,
I thought it was phrased as she died because it was an act of a god.
Right, therefore we can't undo it because, but if we
supersede the power of another god.
Right. Which is ultimately what it comes down to. You can't supersede the power of a god. But I think it goes a little deeper than that. I think it goes to they can't undo the will of a god unless that god willingly signs off on it. Because that's the only reason why she wouldn't be able to bring him back, is if somebody else is intervening with their own power.
And if that's the case, then she's fucked.
Yeah, because Wednesday will never give that up, because that's a coin that he can hold over Shadow's head.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah, I love how when when she's like, "What god?" and she just like lifts Sweeney up by his balls.
Oh, that was hilarious.
My God.
That hurt so much.
Good.
His balls.
Poor Sweeney. But you know
And she was just like, "I can shuck them like peas," and I was like, yes. It's kind of like a reference to the book.
Yeah.
From in Effie, because in the show she was peeling an apple, but in the book she's shucking peas. So I was wondering if that was a reference to the book, but either way, I was stupid excited by the fact that she even said it, and then he has to explain to her, you're just a pawn. Because he even says, we are all pawns of the gods. We're all playthings. You and I both, we're at their mercy. So, we have to make Shadow feel like he lost everything. That's why this happened to you. No other reason. Don't take it personally. He needs his man. And so that means you're out.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible thing to say to somebody.
Yeah.
To say that you were... Yeah, I mean, you're the dead wife because we needed a card. We needed a play. And when she's like, tell me the name, he's like, who did it? She's like, I know. I want you to say it.
Yeah.
Like, she understands that there is power in her being told the name. And Sweeney gives it up, and he's like, it's Wednesday, and she's like, I knew it. I mean, there is a look on her face like, I'm going to rip this guy in half. And as we've seen, she can probably do it too.
She might be able to.
With
the power of the coin.
With the power of the coin. And we also have to remember that, for all of Wednesday's vaunted powers, he's still essentially immortal. I mean, we've talked about the fact that gods can be killed, but the more powerful you are, the more people believe in you, the harder it is for you to stay dead.
Yeah.
But Wednesday doesn't really have a whole lot of followers. So I imagine he might be a little tough, but if she gave him a swift kick in the nuts, I think we'd see a children kind of situation where just bleh.
Ew.
Because her power is not tied in any way to him.
No.
So he wouldn't be able to just stop her. But at least Easter was able to give her the newly fresh dead look instead of the, you've been decaying for a couple of weeks thing.
Gross.
Yeah, I have a house full of guests. Please stop.
Yeah, please stop decaying for a little while, please. But that was also a really great loophole of them undoing some of her decay. So that way, because, I mean, the way they were going, she's going to fall apart at the end of season 2. She won't even make it to the end of the show because she's just going to turn into the crap. Unless somebody undoes some of the decay. So that was a nice little loophole they wrote in.
that was nice of her. That was considerate.
Yeah, she got recharged, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it was more for her and she didn't want to gross out her guests.
Yeah.
Because she was very much in host mode.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and can we talk about when Wednesday is making the pitch, how he just bums out Jesus Prime?
Yes!
And Jesus Prime is moping on the pool, walking on water, and then he's just making wine. Oh my God.
Yeah. Wasn't he trying to meditate and alleviate his own sadness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so great. There are so many little things that are going on in this episode, and I mean, because really plot-wise, there's not a lot going on. Everybody shows up. Everybody makes their pitch to Easter. Easter flips to Wednesday's side. Yeah,
because ultimately she no longer wants to share her day.
Right. But I mean, that's basically everything that happens in it. But it's all these little tiny moments, that are really building up, to this grand showdown.
And when it finally does reach its climax, things happen.
Yes, it does. Because as we said, Easter says, okay, I'm going to flip. I'm going to take it back.
Yep.
And they basically, Mr. World shows up on the face of one of the children. He's like, who do you think you are that you can make her do this? And Wednesday makes a declaration of who he is. He says his name in full. Yeah. So, Christina, this is your show. You should really be able to say it.
No, I mean, he finally says his true name.
Yes.
We're no longer skirting around it.
Mm-mm.
They're not making obvious to subtle hints. This is Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday is Odin. Now, Mike, we've been making you guess for the entire season of the entire run of this show. Did you see that coming?
I saw it coming because of the when they were in the police station.
The rocket.
The rocket.
Yeah, the rocket kind of blew it away. But even in that reveal, I'm like, what? No, come on, don't you do that? And then just that whole big reveal in this episode and just like, are you sure you want to know? Are you double sure? I wanted to make sure, Shadow, because you're not gonna believe me. You're not gonna believe me. I'm not gonna believe you. Boom! I'm like, okay, I believe you.
Right.
Even showed the statue too. I'm like, damn.
Like the clouds come together, they darken, and like thunder and lightning is coming.
Yeah, because everybody always remembers that Thor has the power over like thunder and lightning, but they forget that Odin gave him the power.
Yeah,
like, it's not like Odin couldn't do it too.
Yeah, I mean, like lightning and thunder is not mutually exclusive to Thor.
Yeah,
he just likes to use it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like now we definitely know Wednesday is Odin, and when he declares his godlyhood, that emboldens Easter to finally take the reins and show what she can do.
Right.
That was so hot.
And she's so... Okay, first off, this was an amazing moment because this is like near the end of the book. Like, actually, it doesn't really even happen in the book. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Like, she flips. But it doesn't.
But she doesn't demonstrate her power.
She doesn't demonstrate her power, but she does flip near the end of the book. But this flip that she does, where she takes down her hair, because it's all been up so far.
It's been done up like one of those fancy Easter hat ladies.
Yeah, it's very conservative. It's very conservative, very much in the holiday of Jesus. And she's like, screw that, I'm the goddess of rebirth and getting it on. And she like takes her hair down and she's like, but damn! You know, she goes into sexy mode.
Yeah, she has like, I mean, she's already super beautiful.
Yeah. But she goes into sexy mode.
She goes to like, hot damn.
Yeah.
When her long golden locks are just untethered by a hat, and like just everything free about her, just like unleashes, and then she demonstrates her power, and she takes out the entire, I guess, plantation, like, or whatever she was on.
She revokes spring from America. From America.
I thought it was just the surrounding like acre or whatever. So she takes back spring.
She puts them back in winter.
Yeah.
Oh man, like it was what?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Brittany, go ahead.
Oh, because Wednesday was like, show them who you are, show them what you do, you know, and show them that they are not worthy until they can worship you properly. And she just does that. Like you said, the hair comes down and she just sucks all of spring back into her, and it's just desolate and barren. Like, I love like watching the plants like suck back down and everything else. It's like, well, we'll just go back to hibernating, and it's like spring will not come back until you can properly show her tribute and worship the holiday for what it is, that it's not the Jesus day that she was around way before and all this. Like, I love that. I was like, back to more female kick-ass empowerment, like see how powerful she is. And then, you know, because right before that, Wednesday strikes down all the children because he's like, I offer this tribute to you, and they're like, and media's like, what tribute?
Yeah.
And that's when he strikes them down.
Kids, yeah.
I was like, holy shit. I mean, because he even hit Mr. World.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, shit's going down. Like, I am so sad there's only 8 episodes.
I know. The declaration of war was seriously amazing. It was not what I was expecting. This entire moment is so many little things that have happened over multiple parts in the book. I was just like, did they really just cobble this all together?
Yeah.
And I think I understand the reason why. I think if they'd have introduced the House on the Rock at this point, we'd be disappointed because we'd have to wait to see all of it. I think that's one thing. I think the other thing is that we needed to clearly define who the players were, what the war was going to be about, and we needed to get ourselves involved between the new and the old.
Yeah.
And Easter is that perfect blend of the two.
Yeah, and like recruiting Easter, because the old gods have their king technically, and that is Odin, but he also needed a queen.
Right.
And people still like Easter.
Oh, they
and
love
she
Easter,
is,
yeah.
And she is still like, and she is like really powerful god. And he needed a partner in crime to rally the other old gods and get them definitely on their side.
Right, because in the book he can't do it. He has to go to he tries, and they're all kind of like, look, we agree with you in theory, but your execution.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
They waffle on it, and they ultimately just the conference fails.
yeah, the conference fails, and he has to start to woo them one at a time. You know,
Mhm.
he has to go and like, okay, you're on my side, you're on their side, and he starts to like go off a laundry list. And by making Easter one of his early converts, along with Chernabog, along with Mr. Nancy, along with Matt Sweeney, he now has a very powerful base. I mean, Easter is a trump card. I mean, she really is right now a massive note in his back pocket.
Mhm.
And that gives him a lot of cachet going to the House on the Rock,
Mhm.
which means that the House on the Rock is going to play out way different than what it did in the book, which I'm really excited for now.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also going like since he's also declared war, um, the House on the Rock might actually turn way more violent than it did in the book.
Yeah. And I know we're alluded to things in the book. We don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, we don't want to like I try not to.
Right.
But the House on the Rock, I just want to emphasize that it is a very big deal.
It is a very big deal. It is the crescendo of the first act for them.
Yes.
Like where this is the crescendo of the first act as far as like we've set up the players, this is what the stakes are. That's what the House on the Rock was. And they're now changing the purpose of this particular piece. But another thing I thought was great is in the book, most of the war happens what they call behind the scenes. And this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not anything really, which is that the gods, when they war with one another and they're really fighting, it doesn't happen on the mortal plane. It happens in a place that Mr. Wednesday keeps referring to as behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And humans, they don't really do well behind the scenes. When they see the world the way the gods see it, it kind of messes with our heads a little bit. But a lot of that war happens off screen. We don't get to see that because it's happening kind of parallel to our world.
Now, I actually want to, that reminded me of something. Like, they don't really talk about it. Actually, they don't talk about it at all in the show.
Right.
But last week, Laura, Salim, and Mad Sweeney were at this roadside attraction where they were reading of, or they saw the statue of that huge white buffalo, the god of the Lakota tribe.
Right.
And I remembered in the book that these type of roadside attractions are built over like little pockets of supernatural power.
Right.
And it's like I can't remember after that, like are those like little portals into behind the scenes?
That allows them to more quickly get there, yes, which is what the House on the Rock is. The House on the Rock is a massive nexus point that allows them to do that. And really it's big enough where all their power can congregate without it throwing up a bunch of red flags.
Yeah.
The one that they were at was probably way smaller. But the point is because all this stuff happens behind the scenes, we need to show an actual effect of the War of the Gods in the real world. Easter removing spring is a massive consequence for the world at large. Even on a global scale, the United States no longer able to harvest their crops because everything's back in winter. They can't do. You're throwing off agricultural cycles now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for exports and imports and all kinds of stuff as far as the American people are concerned. This is a massive play on Wednesday's part, and it makes it something tangible that we're now going to be able to see in the everyman's world, which I really like.
Now, since this is also a direct act against the new gods, including media, how are they going to get the word out?
Now, when you say they,
how is Easter and Wednesday going to get the word out that this is actually Easter's doing?
Dude, she just dropped the proverbial nuts on their forehead. I mean,
I know, but you know how humans like to explain things away.
Fair,
It's
yeah.
like this could be like some freak weather phenomenon.
Oh, so how are we actually going to get humanity to start to worship Easter?
Yes.
You know, that's a good question. I don't know. Let's ask the other guys because we kind of took over for a little while.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. What do you guys think? Do you think what do you think would be the best way for them to get the shift from Jesus to Easter now, since she's made a declaration?
It's a very good question.
I mean, I honestly don't know. I haven't thought about that. Because like you said, if the way to get it out would be through, say, media, they're obviously not going to have that option and that outlet, do you just go on a quest and just try to convert people in the rounds, like go town to town and hold meetings or whatever and just be like, hey, so behold my power until you start to worship me again, or realize who I am. I am the goddess of spring. If you want spring to come back, worship me. Or I don't know. Like, that's a very, very good question. Because how do you hit the masses when, especially nowadays, they won't have access to television, the internet, newspapers, because again, that is all media, and I would imagine she's not going to be willing to let that slide. So I don't know. That's a very good question.
Mike, what do we do?
You do exactly what Easter did. You hold that bitch hostage. I took your spring. Worship, and you may get it back. Kansas, you want it? All right, you worship. You get it.
I know how she's going to do it. Okay, we've all seen Moana, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you've not seen Moana, then you don't know that there's a giant island goddess like out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. She's just going to pop out of a mountain and start talking to people en masse. Like,
boom!
You!
Right there.
She's going to be like a giant mountain goddess.
Maybe. Like, I was actually kind of thinking, what if, like, at least with Easter, what if she starts revealing herself kind of like in the old days, like what Jesus did. Like she recruited disciples and they spread the word for her while she did these miracles.
Yeah, perform miracles across the country. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there's definitely going to be something to say for people who do worship the old pagan ways of Easter, and having this moment where she communes with them and she says, tell everyone.
Yeah.
And they start telling people.
Yeah, and then those people can take to technology, like with Twitter, the internet, and whatever.
It'll be interesting, yeah.
It'll be interesting. Like, for all their power, I don't think even the technical boy will be able to stop them spreading the word through technology.
And keep in mind, there is one key component to all of this. The gods do not command followers. The followers are what empower the gods.
Right.
So if the followers start believing in Easter, no matter what the corporation of gods try to do, they're still beholden to the mythology, the power, and how the power flow is working. And because they're not being worshipped at anymore, and they've never created the dynamic of being worshipped to, they don't know how to take that power back. Oh, see, they're setting something up good. They're setting something up really good, I think. And I think it's going to be really interesting for season 2, how they're going to set this up.
Bastards.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of philosophical questions as far as how does this now affect the war between these two factions. And I mean, honestly, I think part of it will be maybe the road trip, especially, God, I hope this happens. In the book, we start to get a lot of Shadow. We start to get a lot of Shadow, Anansi, and Chernobog kind of doing these road trip portions in the book. I want there to be like a couple episodes where Wednesday, Chernobog, Easter, Anansi, and Shadow are road tripping across the country. Like recruiting folks and stuff. I want this hard.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun.
And then there was also a time where Shadow hangs out with Ibis and Jekyll.
Yes, yes.
And like without Wednesday is out of the picture for a little bit.
Yeah, because he's always recruiting. He's always hustling.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's out recruiting while he's also hiding Shadow.
Right.
But
we haven't even gotten to that kind of stuff yet.
No.
Yeah.
And then there's this time where like Shadow is just by himself.
Yeah. So, but I want that to happen. I want us to have more Easter Shadow time. Now that they have said Chenoweth is going to be a big part of this, they better not abuse her. Like, forget everybody else. Just give me Orlando Jones and give me Kristen Chenoweth for like 3 episodes. Just like a buddy cop movie, man. Just like have them going around, Anansi telling the story of Easter, and Easter going like, yeah, what up?
He can be like the prophet.
I'm telling you, it'd be so good.
Because since he is the god of storytelling. Yep. He can be like the prophet that goes around and tells her story.
Yeah. But
that's how she and the other guys will gain followers.
Yeah. But fortunately, we at least end on a high note, which is after war was declared, after Easter's like, I'm coming with you, we get the last couple moments where Laura shows up.
Yep.
on the balcony looking down at Shadow like, we need to talk.
Yeah, it's like, no, she speaks directly to Wednesday. It's like,
Yeah.
I need to talk with my husband.
Yeah, there's like, we need to have this conversation now, and you know that's going to be a very, very bad moment.
Yeah.
And then they start to show where Salim is and where all the gods are starting to show up.
Yeah.
Which is, the very last shot is the house on the rock, and everybody's starting to arrive.
Yeah, that's right. Because spring is no longer in that part of the
right, and we see everything's gone back to winter.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be so good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I really want to know what Salim's role will be in this show, because he never ever shows back up in the book.
No.
Like, he's just like a one-note character. So I love that they're expending him as well.
I just want everything to be good, and I need everything to come back now.
I don't want to wait a year.
I don't want to wait a year. I mean, but I am very glad that the show seems to has found its footing, and that people seem to really be enjoying it. I love when we post the podcast and watching, like, a lot of my friends kind of react to it. The ones who are like really hardcore into it. The reactions of what's going on, it's making me really, really happy. And I think that it's set up to be just an amazing, amazing season 2. And hopefully we'll get answers more to the things that were kind of on the...
Uh-oh.
I think Brittney just fell off the chair and died.
Okay, I didn't fall off the chair. Sorry, I was so excited. I want season 2 to be super amazing, and maybe we'll get the answers to the questions or the things where we're kind of divided on. Like, some of us are like, well, maybe is like Mad Sweeney's intentions. Like, did he do it because he has a heart and he feels really guilty about having to rope Laura into all this, or is it the whole, I can't take the coin because I can't take the coin, kind of like Shaun's theory of, it was given, and, how he pointed out the whole lucky the tricks, and he was like talking about, he's like, General Mills did the rest. I was wondering if that was like a nod to like General Mills' tricks and Lucky Charms, and like maybe they are working together in cahoots, and Christina's theory that when he threw out the coins, that was kind of payment for the rabbit. But if that's the case, then that would also mean that Easter isn't on it, and she is like obviously holding her cards very close to her chest about everything that happened. So I just I don't know. I'm just super, super excited. I'm ready for season 2, and there's so many unanswered questions, and I'm ready.
All right. And with that, I think we're going to start closing down. Mike, let's go to you first. Like, what do you rate this episode?
Another 4 thumbs. It was
I love
great.
that you sprout spontaneous arms.
Yeah.
It would have been a 5th. But and only because I have more questions about Mr. World now, because it's really creeping me out. But I absolutely loved this episode. Love Easter. Easter. You just want to hug her and not let go.
I've been waiting for her all season. I'm pissed that I had to wait 7 episodes before we finally got to her. I'm like, son of a bitch. But they did that a lot. Orlando Jones only had, an episode, really only like 15 minutes total.
Yep.
So, I mean, as far as the first season, we're establishing a lot of stuff. So I understand.
But they had great performances.
Mm-hmm,
memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Brittney, what is your rating?
I wanted more, but I would give this. We're doing the episode, right? Not the season. The episode. I would totally give it like just odd. I'm just selfish. All the thumbs.
All the thumbs.
All the points. All the stars. I loved it.
And Shaun.
I hated this episode. I thought it was garbage. I think that it was completely not worth my time. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. I give this one like the highest of praise. I give it an A+, mostly because of the fact that we're finally establishing what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Like we have set up the rules. We're getting to the house on the rock. It's about damn time.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see where it's going to go. So I am psyched, and I'm pissed that I got to wait a year. But that's okay. I can live with it.
Yeah, I give it an A++.
Ooh, nice.
Because I know, because that epic mic drop at the end.
It's great.
I mean, we got our Easter. We got Kristen Chenoweth. We got our Jesus Prime. We we got the Odin, the declaration of war, and like the taking back of spring, and just everything. Just I loved every second of it, and the I loved and hated the note that they ended on, because I just need more. Eight
Yeah.
episodes is not enough, but I love it. I love it all anyway. But I'm pissed that we have to wait a year.
Yeah, it's true. But if you don't want to wait a year, you can read the book. It's going to get you so far.
Read the 10th anniversary one.
Yeah.
That's
because
the one I have.
because
Expands it.
that expands the story and the world that these characters reside in.
Yep.
And it's just really good. And with that, overall I loved this season. I can't wait for more. And good job.
Yeah, good job, stars.
Good job, man, because this is a show that I was really excited for when they first announced it, and I am just so pleased that they kept in tone with the books, and I am glad that they have something new for even us longtime fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and casting is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Writing is phenomenal, and obviously it's gorgeous. Like, I mean, it's Mr. Fuller. I mean, it's fucking gorgeous. I can't love it.
All right, and with that, guys, I think we have to finally say goodbye for the first season.
I know.
So Shaun, where can we find you?
Nowhere. Shauncastic. By the time this episode drops, Shauncastic will have finished up its run. You can of course listen to all of our back issues at Shauncastic.com. But you can find me online. I do some writing for Legion of Leia. I also am on Twitter and Instagram at NumaZ, which is PNEUMAZ. And come find me. We also do a lot of shows all over the country. And I'll be at let me see, Dragon Con will be the next big one on Labor Day in Atlanta. So that's a huge one. Yeah.
Yeah, and Brittney, where can we find you?
You can also find me on the Twitter at Sunny, SUNNY Burlesque. I'm always at various nerdy conventions, either doing vending or media or whatever. Just feel free to come up and say hi. And whenever Shaun and I come up with something different, come and visit us at that incarnation too.
Yeah.
And Mike, where can we find you?
You can, of course, find me over at my website at TrexLight.com and also over on the Twitter at ThisIsTrex.
Awesome, great. And tell us what you think, listeners. We shall be back for season 2, and if you want to hear us talk about another show that you might love, let us know, and we might be able to do it.
Yeah.
And with that, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Intro to Geek, and also Legion of Leia. I am the assistant editor over there. And, with that, bye. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I need to go find Jesus Prime and give him a hug.
Come to Jesus.
Prime.
You need to have your come to Jesus moment.
Come to Jesus Prime moment. Come to Jesus Prime.
This has been American Pods, the American Gods podcast. The theme song is called Life in Motion by Hike, used under the Creative Commons license.